Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video, we are looking at Intel. It is time for another update. Today, we will be focusing on the smaller time frame, on what we see here on the screen actually. And previously, I have provided to you this yellow area of support for a wave 4 correction. This wave 4 correction doesn't actually need any further lows. We have fulfilled the minimum expectations. And even in terms of proportions with this as a wave 2, I would consider it has done enough. Now, this doesn't mean we couldn't see a reset of the wave 4 still. In fact, in this orange interpretation that I do not have drawn on the screen, but in the interpretation in orange, I would have an A wave down. This would be my B wave up. We even have the resistance levels up to the 78.6% retracement here. And I could see another low within the wave C that would form, of course, a lower low. Yeah, this entire wave 4 in yellow would need to be readjusted, and we would need to restart our count within the wave 5. Now, this is not a problem. It's not exactly ideal either, but at this point we do not know how this will turn out. What we do know that we want to see is a 5-wave pattern within this yellow wave 5 to still maintain this idea of an impulse alive. So at this point, I am not focusing on the yellow area of support. I'm not focusing on the orange area of resistance because internally, within this movement to the upside, I can identify a 1-2 setup. Of course, I could track the levels of support down to the 78.6% retracement as we have here in white, down to $107. As long as this holds, we can still favor continuation to higher prices, where if the prices do not manage to sustain above this last level of support, we need to be prepared for that reset. But as it stands right now, this is not a problem because sure, we have dipped into it. We have gotten even a week below it in the beginning of the trading day today, but it hasn't been broken. It is still holding, so I can continue to prefer continuation to higher prices. And based on the structure that I have within this as a wave 1, I could see it both ways. I could see an impulse that would actually work within this yellow wave 5, but I do not see it or deem it as necessary. And I wouldn't really care about it too much at this point. For simplicity, this is probably the best time frame to stay on for this structure, where we clearly see that we have within this wave 2 already fulfilled the expectations. We have 3 waves down, we have pushed into the area of support, and we know that if we get a lower low within this structure, it will most likely fail. So let's actually look for some ideal targets within this movement to the upside, because I am tracking a wave 3. I expect the wave 2 bottom to be in, so everything should be in place for us to look for them. And the ideal target for the wave 3 would sit at the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. That is at $142. This, however, does not mean that we need to stop there. It doesn't mean we couldn't be creating even a quite bullish pattern. So in terms of risk and reward, we actually have an incredibly favorable setup, because I am looking to risk maybe 4% on this trade based on the current pricing, while looking to gain only within the wave 3, potentially something like 28%. So I am already looking at a 1 to 7 risk-reward ratio. This wave 3 doesn't even need to stop here. We could be looking at a lot more, but let's actually get into the smaller time frame before we end the video, because this is about it. It's a rather simple structure. I prefer a bottom to be in. I prefer to be continuing in this movement to the upside within the wave 3. Now, in the smaller time frame, a warning, we do have 3 waves down, but we also at this point only have 3 waves to the upside. I can and I will be looking here for an internal 1-2 setup, but if this structure is to fail, it doesn't actually need to form any additional highs. So in terms of support for direct continuation to higher prices in the case of this structure, I would like for this to work out as a 1-2 setup. I would like for a wave 3 to follow and continue within an impulse. I will warn you that this could work out as part of the wave 3 even, as a leading diagonal, where we would build here an ABC pattern within the wave 1, in which case we could allow maybe even a deeper level of support for such an interpretation. But this is also why I was rather focusing on the larger time frame support, on the larger structure where it extends down to $107. It is more noise free, and we do not know exactly how this will play out. Sometimes we do simply get a double bottom, sometimes we simply get a truncation within a slightly different pattern. I will not be commenting too much on that, because the way I see it, if this structure is to fail, extending directly higher, I would find a stronger and sharper decline more likely, because I do not have an internal 1-2 in this area that would allow this to be a wave 3 and then to have this as a wave 4. Simply because this as a wave 4 would be too large for such an interpretation, so I'm not looking for a wave 5 to be taking me to lower prices. I am either looking at this to turn into something like a 1, 2, 3, something like that. Doesn't have to be exactly that, just to show you the idea, where we would expect typically a larger correction, or for this to be something like an A, B, C pattern, and even here, doesn't have to be exactly this count, but in this scenario, I would expect a stronger move to the downside, not just a slightly lower low before actually recovering. So this is actually important because it provides me a bit more clarity in terms of my expectations for this structure. I do want this area of support to be generally holding, and I do want to see the continuation to higher prices, where, again, the ideal target for the wave 3, I have already shared it. What did I say it was? Like $142. But for now, we can stop here. These are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.